News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
A misdemeanor charge against the alleged Zootown clown. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. Congratulations. You made it. It's Friday, October the 14th. 2016. Right now the sky's cloudy. We've got 45 degrees, and we are expecting heavy rain today with highs only in the 50s. Our newscast this morning sponsored by Selway Armory on Stockyard Road, with more guns and ammo than anyone at Missoula, Montana's premier firearms dealer. Our top story this morning, a 15-year-old Missoula high school student has been charged in juvenile court with a misdemeanor after posting threats to kidnap and kill local high school students under the pseudonym Zootown Clown. Police spokesman Travis Welsh has more.
Discussions have taken place between the lead investigator and officials at youth court. Those discussions included potential charges, and yesterday the 15-year-old boy was in fact charged with disorderly conduct, a misdemeanor.
Threatening violence could have ended with more severe threats, including possible charges of terrorism. However, Missoula police say the extent of the charges is based on the investigation.
That it all depends on the investigation. What the investigation reveals, what we can find out about the person responsible, their level of cooperation, etc. And apparently the investigation was a primary reason for going with a charge of disorderly conduct, as opposed to what you describe as heavier offenses.
Although another pseudonym was used as Bobby Zootown, which attempted to apologize for the original threats, only one person is facing charges, and both posts appear to have been by the same student. Oregon standoff figure Ryan Payne wants to withdraw his guilty plea. The Montana man out of Sanders County admitted in July he conspired with others to prevent Interior Department employees from doing their jobs during the occupation of the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Oregon recommended that Payne's expected prison sentence run at the same time as the punishment he was to receive for a 2014 standoff with federal agents at Clive and Bundy's Nevada ranch. At the time, it appeared a Nevada plea deal was imminent. However, Payne's lawyer, Rich Federico, said in court papers yesterday that talks broke down. Federico said Payne would not have signed the Oregon agreement if he had known all the terms of the deal in Nevada. Moreover, Payne's statements when pleading guilty also showed he had strong misgivings about the factual basis for that guilty plea. Since the Federal Real ID Act was first enacted in 2005, Montana has received extensions because our driver's licenses are not compliant with the law. Montana politicians on both sides of the aisle have opposed Real ID because of data storage and privacy concerns. However, the latest extension came to an end last Monday. Attorney General's office oversees the production of licenses. Spokesman John Barnes says state law and federal law are at odds over this issue.
Montana's license is what it is, and it's not something for us to do. It's a question of the federal government to say we're in compliance or we're not. And we are not in compliance with Real ID because the law prohibits compliance with Real ID. So one of two things has to happen. Either the state legislature would have to change state law to comply with Real ID, or Congress would have to change the Real ID Act at the federal level.
Since Montana law prohibits compliance, Montanans that want to enter federal buildings may have to get another form of ID soon.
It's quite possible that Montana will not receive another extension. It's our understanding there would be a 90-day grace period that began on Monday. At the end of that 90 days, if you are a Montanan and you want to enter a federal courthouse or a federal installation in Montana, you will need some type of alternate identification that is recognized by the Department of Homeland Security.
Montana is one of 6 states currently out of compliance. Montana's Commissioner of Political Practices says a political committee supporting a candidate for Supreme Court broke state law by having a name that did not identify the special interest of the majority and its contributors. However, Commissioner John Modell said Montanans for experienced judges quickly corrected the problem, which will be a factor in any fine. 4 of the 6 original donors to the group supporting candidate Dirk Sandifer were lawyers, and a 5th was the Montana Trial Lawyers Association. The Montana Commissioner of Political Practices also says an anti-marijuana ballot committee broke state law by spending money on more than one initiative. Save Montana's ballot proposal to ban marijuana in the state failed to gather enough signatures to go before voters in November. The group also spent money on billboards opposing a separate ballot measure to loosen the state's medical marijuana law. 26-year-old Ashley McDonald is back in the Missoula County Jail after she was arrested Wednesday evening by Missoula Police. Public Information Officer Travis Welsh explains.
About 3:45 p.m., one of our officers responded to the 100 block of Pullman Court to assist U.S. Marshals who had come in contact with 26-year-old Ashley McDonald. It was determined that Miss McDonald had failed to update her living status and as a violent offender, a registered violent offender, and so she was taken into custody.
McDonald was originally charged and convicted with aggravated assault and assault on a minor after she broke her 7-month-old infant's arm and leg in 2 separate instances of anger at the child's crying. McDonald was given a suspended sentence and never went to prison, but this new act may change that.
If somebody is in noncompliance, and that basically amounts to, living somewhere where they haven't notified the state, changing their resident status without making notification. The statute for failing to register as a sexual or violent offender is a felony.
And at her appearance in Justice Court yesterday, she was released on her own recognizance. 50-year-old Deborah Harp was released from custody yesterday on a $1,000 bond that was posted in September after she allegedly assaulted a disabled woman and stabbed her with a barbecue fork. Harp was arrested on a $20,000 warrant on Wednesday after the alleged incident that occurred in September. In West Riverside, Harp appeared before Judge Marie Anderson, and Deputy County Attorney Amber Henning asked for her bail to be continued at $20,000.
It involves the defendant attacking several people, including one woman who is somewhat physically disabled due to several strokes. The defendant then strangled this victim to a point of unconsciousness, stabbed her with a barbecue fork, and hit her in the face with a full can of beer.
Judge Anderson accepted the bond that had already been paid of $1,000. Our News Talk time now is 6:11.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Rain likely today with our high temperatures topping out in the mid-50s. Winds will increase for us this afternoon with wind gusts up to 20 to 30 miles per hour. Rain this evening, overnight lows right around 40. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.